Hey guys, Lawrence here, and yeah, I know that what you're thinking, that this channel was meant to be about non-Dragon Ball content, but I felt like this was the area where I could talk about my feelings on it in general, in a way that is a lot more calm than I was last night, and in a way that it means I don't oversaturate the main channel, because, you know, I've done 2 videos about Broly.
Same congestion on A240 at 1.5 miles. You are still on the fastest route.
Thank you, Google. Even though I've now watched it a couple more times, I'm not as overly ecstatic as I was yesterday, but I am still loving the idea that this whole Dragon Ball phenomena is entirely revolutionized. The visuals are amazing. They are nothing like we've seen in Dragon Ball before. I would say probably that the biggest difference, I would say that this is the biggest step in quality that we've seen from going from movie 11 of DBZ to movie 12. So we're going from Bio Broly to Fusion Reborn. And Fusion Reborn, that was testing out like 3D kind of like composition techniques. It was remarkable. It was amazing for 1995. It looked stunning. And I feel like that's the change in quality that we're seeing from Resurrection F to, you know, this Broly movie. It's a really big step. And now that I've actually got the chance to see the version with subtitles, there are a couple more things that I didn't really get to mention. First off, I know a lot of people in the comments were saying, oh, Lawrence, Masako, whatever, you forgot to talk about Vegeta. He goes Super Saiyan God. Yeah, that is a big deal, because only the manga was talking about that in the Goku Black arc. That is a big deal. It's quite a big spoiler, actually. Even though, is it really a spoiler? Because we saw the visuals and the conceptual art for it. It's something that we've known about for a while now, but to see an animation and to see it really moving is a really big deal, and that is something I forgot to talk about. I was just completely swept up in the Broly hype, and can you blame me, really? Another thing that a lot of people were pointing out to me is that in the subtitled version, Goku actually talks to Broly and says, hey, you're not actually that bad. I think there's some good in you. And people are saying, oh my god, Masako, all you're talking about Broly turning good, could it actually happen? Maybe Broly could be persuaded to become a good guy. Or maybe he's not entirely evil. I mean, we're not talking about like destroying South Galaxy type of evil anymore. That's a really interesting thought. Honestly, it's not about this movie, them trying to fight a bad guy and destroy him. It's about these guys coming to fight. It is destiny, after maybe 35, 40 years, that has brought them to this point. And they have been chosen by fate to actually, just gonna see what this guy was doing, to actually meet and test their strength. The Prince of all Saiyans, the low-class Marvel, and now the absolute complete Berserker. That is a really good plot, and that really ties it in. If it's been destiny that will bring them together, then that makes much more sense than just Broly being annoyed by a Goku baby crying. It's already so much better, and I absolutely adore that. And now that Chele and Lemo, those are the 2 guys I forgot to really mention. I forgot their names, just blanked at the time. But to see them in there, they're gathering Dragon Balls. There's a wish being made. I wonder what the wish is going to be about. I would imagine it has something to do with either Broly or Frieza, because I imagine that Frieza knows about the Dragon Balls. But what would he be wishing for, and what is he doing on Earth? Maybe Chele and Lemo, that's how they meet Bulma. Maybe that's how they do it. That's what my thinking is right now. But the whole thing about Goku thinking that there is some good in Broly, that is interesting. And the whole dynamic between Paragus and Broly is that Broly is now nowhere near as uncontrollable as he was. He needs a kind of necklace to kind of keep him in check somewhat, but it's mainly possibly for his own safety, that Paragus tells him to, hey, go for it. Or, hey, I'm going to press the big red Broly button, go for it, go nuts. And sure enough, he does go nuts. That visual at the end is probably going to be seen as one of the most iconic shots from the movie, because it's just basically Broly, just essentially what he was in 1993. That is pretty much it. I think definitely that's the way it was. Yeah, not gonna lie, this is a movie that will go down in history of the entire franchise. This is the first Dragon Ball movie that is getting essentially a worldwide release, and it's not limited to maybe just a week or 2 weeks. This looks like it was gonna get a full cinematic run, possibly many weeks, maybe a couple of months, depends. It might be staggered in terms of which countries get it first. I know Australia's getting it in January as well. A lot of people are pointing that out to me on Twitter. We're getting it late January, probably. Hopefully it won't clash while I'm in Ireland, because I'm going to be going to a KumaCon. Hopefully it doesn't come out then. That means I'll be just like, no! But at the same time, if I'm able to be there for that first day and get tickets, I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do, what I'm going to plan for that. Hopefully Haverock will be able to join myself, hopefully getting to see a London screening of that at Leicester Square. That's what I ideally would like to do. So have something that in mind. We'll have a meet up before the movie, we'll go and see the movie, and just enjoy it. Because I feel like, I mean, even with Resurrection F, man, even though that wasn't as revolutionary as this one, the atmosphere in that theatre was just electric. I mean, especially just hearing Tenshin Han just ribbing Yamcha, that was just so delightful. Just everyone was there for the same reason, to enjoy Dragon Ball, to geek out about it, and just have a good time. And that's what I really am looking forward to with this movie. I imagine we might even get a lot of normies who don't even know what this is about, because I think one of the things they really need to do with this movie is to make sure that it's accessible to anyone who might not be a Dragon Ball fan. To show that this can be a story that you could kind of get into even though you've not seen the show. People might like it because it's an action thing. It's something about destiny. We do see a lot of that, those types of movies. And if we can get that and see how people react to it going fresh into Dragon Ball. The whole thing with Goku being in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, that is a huge shot in the arm for the franchise. There are going to be a lot of people at that parade who don't know what Goku is, and they're going to find out, because I'm pretty sure that they'll announce about it. There'll be commentators saying, and look at that balloon, it's Goku right there flying down New York. So it's kind of almost preempting Jump Force in the fact that it's essentially Goku, Frieza, whoever you want to fight in that game, in a New York City-like area. This is just preempting that. I wouldn't be surprised if this is almost like a promotion for Jump Force as well. I really wouldn't be surprised if there's a mention of that game during that thing. You know, saying that's coming out next year, then there's the Broly movie. And God, imagine if they did a big Broly balloon. That would be insane. That'd be really terrifying as well, depending on which form they choose. I guess Goku's a bit more recognizable, and I don't blame them. He's probably the most iconic character in Dragon Ball ever. That would make sense that he would be in the Macy's parade, definitely. So I am basically going to just see what we can do and have a meetup at Leicester Square and get to meet some of you guys. I know that a couple of people from R&R, they're going to be in different places in the country. So maybe up in the north of England, I might get Trev, who's the lead artist on R&R, to organise a meetup there with like maybe Totally Not Mark. So we can get something up there as well. I don't want it just to be just one meetup. Maybe we can just have multiple meetups for like, yeah, we're all connect in some way. That'd be kind of cool. I really like that. But it's just, there's so many things to think about here. Like you think, oh my God, this is going to be an absolute tidal wave of hype. I mean, I don't usually get hype with these kind of things. I love the second trailer. It was remarkable. But this one just blows out of the water. And the funny thing is that it was really simple. And one thing that I really want to point out here, the whole Whis Broly thing, it'd be interesting to see if that is true, but I feel like it might not be, because we have been stung by Toei before. Remember that whole thing when it was implied that we got to see Baby Bra, but it turned out to be a flashback of Bulma from when she met Jaco? Yeah, that was the biggest bait and switch. They do that. The trailer, they are misguiding things that, okay, the colors look kind of similar. Maybe this is what happens. Maybe this could be just the Frieza Broly fight and Whis is just observing, with Beerus just telling him to go and check that out because it looks kind of cool. He just wants to check up on Frieza, Beerus, just to make sure that he's not causing any trouble. So that could be it. So there's just a lot of things to think about here. And now that I'm actually a little bit calmer, let's just think what could possibly happen instead of what we would like to happen. So that means our expectations are tempered somewhat. Although honestly, judging from what we've seen, the fact that the CGI looks quite polished, a lot of people couldn't really tell based on my comments, we are going to be fine. This is in no way going to be an average movie. I would say, at a minimum, it's going to be a 7 out of 10. I mean, this is for people who are even really big skeptics here. I mean, for me, I'm going into it thinking that it may at least just be an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 easy. But 9 could be a full perfect 10. I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be a perfect 10 unless it had perfect cell in it because, you know, goes without saying, perfect. So there we have it, really. Just planning a meetup. Hopefully I'll do that. I'm going to see it in Japan. I'll vlog my thoughts about that. And just be excited, guys. We are heading towards destiny, much like how Goku, Vegeta, and Broly are doing. We are getting to see Dragon Ball transform into a truly global phenomenon. Not just one of those underlying things that only anime fans get. People that don't necessarily know the ins and outs of Dragon Ball are going to absolutely adore it. The time has come, people. No longer will Dragon Ball be met with looks of confusion. People at least will be able to just say, all right, that movie that came out, right? So there's some kind of hook which can get them in, and we can now just finally discover what it means to love Dragon Ball. So those are just my thoughts, really. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and be excited. Until next time, guys, take care. And once again, one is glad to be of service.